So it is that time. It is time for the Sister Wives one-on-one part one, part two. Only because I couldn't fit all of my thoughts into the last video that I put up yesterday. So part one is out. Also the husband video where he went through the first episode of Sister Wives and answered some questions that we all had about the show. That one is up also. I'll try to put a link in the description if I remember to. But before we get started, hi, I'm Cozy. I like to snark on Sister Wives. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm here pretty much every week doing it. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It's about public figures putting their lives out on reality television. The things I say are not facts. They are opinions only and should not be taken as facts. So now we've got that cleared up. Let's just dive right in because we've got a lot. So when we come in, the first time we see one of the wives really talking, it is Suki asking Janelle if she had a spiritual witness to marry Kody or did she marry him for love. And she says, you know, I was in love with the idea of him, which makes sense, but that they knew each other better after getting married. Now, I can't speak to how true that is because most of us know that Janelle was Kody's sister-in-law, landlord, worked for his employer, and also his stepsister. So I feel like you probably got to know her pretty well in the 3.5 years between when you met and you married her. But maybe I'm wrong. I think actually it was closer to 2.5, 3. Maybe I'm wrong there. Also, when he talks about not vetting his wives, in the book and in multiple occasions, they talk about how he and Christine were friends for like 3 years prior to getting married. And I understand that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be romantically compatible, but it does mean you have a pretty decent idea of who that individual is. She did say she loved him as much as she could, but thought they became more in love as the years go on, which I can understand because I've been with husband for 7 years. 6 of those years we were married. And frankly, I don't know, every day there's just a little bit more. I feel more for him every day than I felt for him before. And I'm sure part of that is just him with our kids because that's been quite the adventure. She says that, yeah, they got married young, but a lot of people get married young and navigate it just fine. And she's not wrong. Any of the kids who have gotten married, most have gotten married young. And they, all of them got married young and things were going pretty well for the most part. So somewhere along the line, she says, we failed to navigate it. And I feel like the thing you failed to navigate was probably Robin's inclusion into the family because Kody didn't want to admit that it was different. So Suki's like, well, Kody said he only ever fell in love with Robin and only had a deep emotional connection with Robin. And so she asked Janelle, did you ever have that? And Janelle's like, as far as my understanding, we did. I thought we did. And Janelle's always said that Kody is her best friend. Like, she has said that they have been besties forever. That has always been her line. So I really believe that she honestly thought they did have that deep emotional connection because they would talk all the time. And they seemed to have the ability to communicate very well with one another. That was something I always got prior to a lot of the overt Robin preference that we got eventually. It always seemed like he and Janelle had the best ability to communicate. She says their marriage was functional, and that's exactly how I would like to describe my marriage someday. Not great, not loving, just functional. Functional seems like the best word. But that they've both grown and changed, and if he has more affinity for Robin, she's okay with that. But she feels it's really unfair to judge their early years on that same metric because he's not the man that he was when they got married, and she's not the same person either. And Suki kind of pushes that he claims to have entered the covenant with Christine and Janelle very differently. And she's like, listen, I never thought we had this grand passion, and maybe Robin is his grand passion, but I thought that we were good. I mean, can't do better than that, I guess, in this circumstance. So Robin's turns, and Suki is like, well, Kody said he only ever fell in love with you. And she's like, yeah, I didn't know that until recently. Okay. He stopped staying with Mary a decade ago. He stopped being present for Christine years ago, and he is referred to Janelle as one of the guys in front of you. Remember at the consignment shop? Yeah, I do. I don't know, Rob's, try again. I'm not going to fall for this. So she says she wonders if it's the rewriting of history. And the way that she says it, it obviously is directed at Kody, but it sounds like it could be directed a little bit at the wives, because it's clear to me after that fight, the knife and the kidneys fight, she thinks everyone is rewriting history. She doesn't believe that anybody ever had these actual feelings, that none of it was real. It's all just some made up story to make Robin angry or hurt. I don't know. So Suki's like, well, he says he wept for joy for months when he found you. And Robin's like, yeah, no, but I don't think he was telling them that. Okay, Suki's exactly right when she's like, when you have that kind of inner joy, it's really hard to suppress it. So then Robin tells on herself, and she's like, well, I tried not to make it painful for them. So which is it, Robs? You didn't know? Or you try not to make it painful for them, because now you're saying that you tried to hide any relationship with Kody that you had. So you didn't know, but you knew enough to try and hide it, but you didn't know what you didn't know until recently. Okay. So now we have Christine's turn. And Suki's like, you said you remember the exact moment when you knew Kody was in love with Robin. And she's like, I do? That was a yucky day. We were already having problems, and I was sitting on the end of my bed watching him get ready for a date with Robin before they were married. And he said, I don't know what's wrong with me. And she said she remembers saying, oh, you're in love with her. And that he got all giggly and was like, I am in love with her, not reading the room at all. And Christine remembers saying that that was her first moment of heartbreak, because it hurt so badly to know that that wasn't how he was with her, number one, but number two, everything was about to change. Christine said she was also the first one to point out that Robin was a soulmate and call him on the carpet to admit, hey, that's your soulmate, and we need to figure out how the rest of us are going to fit into here. And Kody gave her a lot of excuses. Oh, well, you can't say things like that. Christine says their marriage wasn't great outside of Robin, and even if they were in monogamy, she doesn't know if they would have stayed together. But outside of Robin, it was bad, and then when he married Robin and she saw what it looked like to have a real husband, and to see what it looked like when Kody actually put in effort, it was just heartbreaking. And Christine just wanted a man who would have loved to have been with her. And she says she didn't want Robin to not have that. She just wanted that too. And she can see it was unrealistic now to expect that. And I think that is also extra hard, because now you're not just unraveling the relationship you had, you're also unraveling basically your entire belief system at that point. So Janelle says that Robin's relationship was so different from the beginning, and then kind of trails off and explains that when Robin entered the family, Kody pulled away from being a plural husband and shouldering the responsibility of the family, which is something the fan base has been shouting about for years. Because for a long time we were like, hey, why is Kody only ever at Robin's house? Hey, why do we only ever see Kody carrying around Robin's kids? Hey, why don't we see Kody helping with events at other wives' houses? He's just sitting there on his phone. He's just taking a nap. He's actually active and engaged at Robin's. And then, of course, the family was telling us, no, that just happens to be the days that we film. And we were like, no, I don't think so. So I think Janelle's kind of like, yeah, that's what was going on. So Janelle gets asked about the fight, and she is smiling when she says it's hard to watch, which, I mean, okay. She said she can see a lot of things that went wrong. She said that she doesn't think they've ever fought that way before, regardless of what Kody says. They've had harsh words with each other, but never like that. And Suki asks, what is it that Janelle sees that could have gone better? And Janelle's like, well, I came in with talking points, but I just sort of shut down and he bulldozed over me. She wishes she'd just gone into it and been like, hey, this isn't working, and kind of ended things right then and there. But she does say, or Suki says, oh, there was a lot of finger pointing and stuff. How'd that make you feel? And Janelle was like, at that point, I was like, let's go, And she said their communication has always been about something that someone else has done. It's never about anything that Kody says or does. She just never self-reflects, and that it never says he could have done something better. And Mary agrees that Kody needs to do a lot of self-reflection work, and he needs to put in the hard work, and maybe he is. She can't know that, which obviously she can't. She lives in Parowan now. But it doesn't feel like it. And to her as an outsider, she doesn't see it because he's still spreading around a lot of blame. So Suki asks Robin what Kody told her about the fight, and she can't even look at Suki. And she's like, he said when he saw the Christmas tree and Janelle sitting there saying she was taking it to a family event with Christine, that he just got triggered. And I forgot to warn you guys, trigger warning, Christmas tree. And so avert your eyes. She says she knows that that's a trigger for him. Not the Christmas tree, but Janelle spending time with Christine. And Suki asks why, and she's like, well, Christine left him, and Janelle is his wife and is supposed to be supporting him. And she's out here supporting Christine. And I thought shunning wasn't a part of your church doctrine. Isn't that what you told us? Because it sounds an awful lot like you guys want Janelle to shun Christine. And Christine's kids, really, too. It sounds a lot like he just expected that. And Robin's like, well, Kody felt Janelle wasn't supporting him correctly, basically, because he was giving support to Christine, too. And Robin thinks Kody thinks Janelle picked sides. So Kody wants to know if Christine thinks that, or Suki wants to know if Christine thinks that Kody's just jealous of her relationship with Janelle. Is he just jealous that you two talk to each other? She's like, of course he is. And no, maybe he knows what it's like to be a sister wife. Maybe he knows how tough it's been the last 26 years. And Christine says, yeah, it sucks that sometimes Janelle picks Christine over Kody because they've had their fights and they've worked it out and they talk to each other and they make effort and they put in the work. I can't deny that that's a great thing. So Janelle shares with us the story of how she went on vacation while Kody had COVID, which he hinted at in his section. And she shares that he got COVID and he called her saying he was really, really sick. And she thought that she was going to have to go home and she was really scared. She didn't know what to do, call a doctor, call for oxygen, what. She considered coming home. But she says he told her not to because she couldn't do anything anyway. So Suki said, that's why you don't get why he's having this tantrum about your lack of compassion. And Janelle's like, compassion for Kody is that he wants you to wallow with him for months afterward. That he's like, I almost died. And we have exactly zero evidence on television to back that up because he showed us the fever he didn't have. And Janelle's like, I get it, but not every conversation is about how you nearly died. Not everything is about a betrayal with Christine. Sometimes a conversation is a conversation. And then Christine comes in to give some more details. And it a little bit contradicts Janelle's story. And I kind of vacillated on who I think is telling the truth, but let me tell you Christine's side first, and then I'll tell you what I think is going on. So Christine gives some more details and says that Kody did ask Janelle to come home and to get stuff for him, and Janelle was going to do it, and Christine was like, absolutely not. He did not come to your aid when you had COVID. You're not even going to see him. You're going to what? Go home, grab some stuff from Walgreens, put it on his porch, and miss out on vacation? Absolutely not. You're staying here with me. And that's right. She did the right thing. Because all of this was about making Janelle miserable. Not Kody needed anything from her for real. Robin was there. Mary was there. He could have called her. She'd have run to the store for him, no problem. He called Janelle because he wanted to hurt Janelle. And so, once again, those stories contradict each other a little bit. I don't think necessarily that I would say, oh, she's flat out lying. I think Janelle is giving a more PR-friendly version of, trying to make things look a little kinder on Kody. Because Janelle has always, even to this point, she's not super aggressive about it. But I think Christine is filling in the details where she's like, that's not really what happened. And she's willing to say, no, Kody was being a butthead. Like, she's willing to say it. So Suki asked Robin if she was given an invitation to Janelle's, and Robin says no. But I don't remember that being quite correct. Call me out if I'm wrong, but I feel like the invitation was open to Kody's entire household. Because we heard the kids talking about wanting to see Dayton specifically. And obviously Aurora, Brianna, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like the invitation, when they were like, well, we'd like you to come, I honest to goodness feel like I remember Janelle even saying that she wanted Robin and the kids to come. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be crazy, but I feel like that was. And Robin's like, yeah, I would have gone. I would have brought the kids. It would have been a safe place. And Suki's like, well, Kody didn't think so. And Robin then starts touching her eye weirdly. And she's like, starting to make excuses. Well, it's because he thinks the boys blame everything on me. And I feel like she knows she got caught in a lie. Like, I really do. I feel like she knows. Because she's like, well, it's his right to turn it down for me. And that implies that she was invited and Kody turned it down for her, but she had every opportunity to go with or without him. And of course, Cody's going to say, well, she can't go without me because she'll be sad. But then that feels like her saying, well, I know we're invited, but I don't feel safe, and you can't go without me because that would make me sad, or I can't go without you because I'll be too scared. Like, there's something going on behind that I'm not buying what she's selling. She's like, I thought he'd work it out with the boys so we could have the holidays together. And what she means by that is, I thought he'd work it out with the boys so they would come here so I didn't have to go do anything else. And so Suki pushes back a little bit and says there's two sets of non-negotiables here. For Janelle, it's the kids, and Kody's are protecting Robin. And Suki really does actually push at Robin because Robin keeps saying no, no, no. She said that it's as a husband, it's his right to say it, but she never wanted an apology and she wasn't saying it to him. She says she's frustrated her name got brought into it at all, but this wasn't something she was interested in. And part of that makes me feel like she doesn't know what non-negotiables are, but whatever. So Suki goes to Janelle about the apology thing, and Suki's like, well, he corrected himself. And Janelle's like, no, he didn't. He just said after Robin's prompting that he would have a conversation with them. But basically that conversation is, you need to come make right and give me an apology, and then you'll be allowed at my home in the holidays. And that's not what they wanted in the first place. So Suki wants to know what Robin thought about the fight. What was she saying to Kody? And she's like, I was there telling him to work it out. And she starts her teary-eyed nonsense, which is really difficult because we've seen her cry and that didn't look like actual tears. She's like, you have 6 kids together. That has to be worth something. And in his interview, Kody said it isn't. So Robin asserts she told him over and over and over and over that it was worth fighting for. So we get Janelle back and she lets us know the fight was emotional. After the fight, she was very emotional at first. But that she went to run some errands and she just felt relief. She remembers sitting in a parking lot in Flagstaff and suddenly feeling like this burden had been lifted off of her shoulders. So Suki's like, well, what was that burden? And Janelle's like, I didn't have to keep putting effort into this relationship with Kody. She asked, how long was it after the fight before you two saw each other? And she said it was radio silence for 2 months. So then they show the clip and Janelle's not showing any emotion. Even when he accuses her of not being able to manage her relationship with her sister wives, she doesn't raise an eyebrow. She doesn't look angry. She doesn't look shocked. She just looks very stoic, to use a Kody word. And Suki points out the conversation that he had with Janelle was super different than the one with Christine. And Janelle said that they had all aspects of a marriage and they were healthy. And we know that Christine did not have that. We know there were several aspects of the marriage missing, hence why their conversation was so vastly different. So Suki asked Janelle, do you like his pecs? And she explodes with laughter. And she's like, Kody loves his pecs. She doesn't care about that because she's worried about an emotional connection. And that's really where we leave Janelle. But I have to tell you, if someone asks you if you're attracted to your spouse and you burst out in laughter, it's probably not the best sign. I don't know. That's just sort of where we left things for this one. Suki did ask a question about the physical intimacy, and I am just praying that that is not what the entire next episode is over. Lord Jesus, please let that be a really tiny segment and move on with the rest of our lives, because at this point I don't care to know. That's kind of all I've got. I'm hoping after I see my doctor tomorrow to be able to film a video to let you guys know a little bit. I saw some comments where people are like, oh, just know I do love your comments. I just didn't want to heart them yet until I go and get the official diagnosis. So if you're sneaking around the comments trying to figure out what's going on, several people have figured it out. So congratulations, good job to you. But I'm going to try and film that tomorrow after I see the doctor, after I find out a little bit more information, because I don't want to accidentally give anybody any misinformation, but this has been an 11-year ordeal, and I would love to share with you what has gone on in those 11 years. So until then, everybody get your snacks ready for the tell-all part 2, and I will get myself ready for however many parts of a tell-all video I have to make until after that. But until then, everybody have a fantastic week, and I'll see you soon.